Killzone, Outlaw Golf 2, and it versus its conflict Vietnam against Men of Valor. Some of the games we look at on Reviews on the Run are intended for a mature audience. Please pay attention to each game's ESRB rating. Okay, it is arguably the biggest PlayStation 2 game of the year. Everybody's been waiting for this one. Everybody's talking about this one. This is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas from Rockstar for the PlayStation 2. What'd you think, man?
Now, there's going to be a lot of people out there who are going to object to the content of the game. And, you know, and I'm a pretty hardcore guy when it comes to this stuff.
Yep.
Some of the violence and the material in the game, I mean, I got to be honest with you, it did kind of
go over the
top, and it was a little shocking.
Yeah, but listen, man, the guys at Rockstar have always worked within the parameters of the fiction that they're dealing with, and this time they're
taking it to the hood.
They're going to the hood, and they're emulating things that you've seen in Boys in the Hood or Menace to Society. You know, these sort of gangster rap kind of movies, you know, and that kind of lifestyle.
I mean, it's very realistic. They really went realistic.
Absolutely,
with it.
And they're just emulating the fiction that they've seen.
And I would agree with you. It's just that as I'm playing this game, thinking for the first time that, you know, there is going to be younger kids who are going to be playing this game, and it's like...
And they shouldn't be.
Wow. Now that we got all that political stuff out of the game, let's get into it. Boy, is it fun to do a drive-by shooting.
It is fun. It's ridiculously fun. All of the chaos that you can create in this game is going to blow you away.
It is absolutely amazing, all of the things that you get to do at your own pace.
Yes.
You know?
Well, what they've done is they've amplified the action sort of elements in the game. Now you can climb up walls, and it really feels like you're being...
swim.
You can swim. But I love the fact that just climbing, what a difference it makes that you can sort of scramble up walls as you're being chased by cops, you know?
Yeah.
The Grand Theft Auto universe here now is broken up into 3 distinct cities. You've got the Los Angeles type city, the San Francisco type city, and then you've got the Las Vegas type city.
The big news in this game is that they've kind of added a bit of the Sims element in here a little bit. You now have to eat, and you have a stat meter as well that you can bring up at any time. Now you can work out in the game, and you can start to get ripped, and if you don't work out and you constantly eat, you'll get fat.
You're right, it kind of feels a little bit like The Sims, but I was also kind of reminded of Fable in that, you know, all of these things, all this customization of the content really comes into play, and it was amazing to see how deep of an RPG type experience this is.
One of the things, though, I would like to have seen them do a little differently is have the map in the little left-hand corner. The map, I would have liked to have seen it a little bigger.
It's a little confusing.
It was kind of hard in order to get, because the city is so big, it was kind of hard to, like, work your way around sometimes.
Absolutely. You've got some amazing voice actors in the cast. James Woods is in there. Samuel L. Jackson is in there. You got music by guys like Dr. Dre and
Willie
Tupac.
Nelson.
Willie
Don't
Nelson.
forget Willie Nelson.
Axl Rose is one of the DJs on the thing.
Right.
The script is the strongest script we've ever seen in a GTA game.
When you go out and start terrorizing average people, like I always do, you know, the dialogue as well, they have a lot of, you know, voiceover.
Gets a little repetitive.
It gets a little repetitive, but there's so many people.
There's some frame rate issues where it sort of bogs down a little bit, but man, you have to forgive this game for the amount of content it's delivering. It's going to have a few little technical kind of snafus. If you own a PlayStation 2, if you're over 17, this game definitely has to be in your library. I'm giving GTA San Andreas 10 out of 10.
I'm giving it a 9.5.
On the positive side, this game features the best storyline in the GTA series so far. The voice acting is incredible. And really, the fact that you get 3 huge cities to travel around in, plus all of the countryside to see, this game will just blow you away.
On the negative side, this game really is close to perfection, but there were a few things that we would have liked to have seen better. The cities are so huge that we would have liked to have seen the little map icon cover a little more area. And finally, the content is so edgy and adult-orientated, it may turn some players off. Make sure you're 17 or over.
No question about it, Grand Theft Auto rocks, but when we come back, we're talking about another big PlayStation 2 game, Killzone, after the break. Hey, how's it going, guys? I've got my DS out here, and I've got the weirdest combination of games. I have Super Mario DS and Grand Theft Auto Advance on the same machine. I'm going to talk about Grand Theft Auto, which is one of my favorite topics in video games. I love the GTA games. And I gotta say, I'm really impressed for the Game Boy Advance version of Grand Theft Auto. They've done a very good job. Rockstar went to the developers of Digital Eclipse to create this game, and it's using the top-down perspective. It's the same kind of stuff that you would get on the console versions, on the bigger brother type versions, but this time, you know, you're looking down on all the vehicles. And of course, you can hop out of your vehicle and pick up all kinds of weapons and start blasting away at enemies, pedestrians if you're a psychopath, cops that start chasing you. GTA Advance is a lot of fun. It's definitely something to pick up for your DS or your Game Boy Advance. It is a mature rated title, though. Keep that in mind. It's a terrific game, though. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. We are back, and our look at gigantic games continues with Killzone.
Right.
This one is developed by Guerrilla Games and published by Sony for the PlayStation 2. And Killzone has been hyped as
The Halo killer?
Nah. It doesn't even come close to the original Halo, in my opinion, let alone Halo 2.
Well, the thing is, when you're so used to seeing the Xbox in all its glory, you look at a game on the PS2 like this, which has good graphics.
Beautiful graphics.
But it's just that it's a
choppy.
little...
And
it's not so choppy that, you know, if you never played the Xbox stuff, you'd probably think it was fine.
Absolutely.
You know?
And if you don't have an Xbox, then you're looking at one of the sweetest looking first-person shooters for the PlayStation 2. And Killzone, although it has a lot of interesting elements and there's a lot of really nice finesse to this game, it also brings a whole bunch of problems to the table, you know? I mean, my biggest gripe with this game is that just the fact of reloading your gun in between getting attacked by the enemies.
It takes a while, doesn't it?
It takes way too long.
It really kind of put me into this battle that was going on.
Yeah.
You know, like
the war is going on around you.
In games like this, you want to be sucked in. You want to be drawn in, and it does that.
And they use great technical things like, you know, blurring video as all of this shell fire is coming in.
Right.
You've got awesome audio effects. Now, speaking of the levels, they did mix things up quite a bit. They have beautiful kind of beachfront sort of attack situations like this where the water is crashing in against the shore. I thought that was awesome. They've got beautiful tundra kind of environments, jungle, swampy kind of levels, lots of urban levels. And the other cool thing that they've added in this game through the single-player campaign is you're able to play as 4 different characters at the start of any given mission. So you've got the main guy who's named Templar, who's kind of like, you know, the guy that can do a little bit of everything. Luger is the stealth chick who can walk in. No, like the handgun Luger, not the Loogie. Rico's the giant guy that carries the big guns. And then you've got this mutant dude named Haka.
My biggest problem, though, with this game was I thought that the targeting was a little too touchy.
Yeah,
and that is the biggest downfall of this game, is that, you know, I want to be able to...
especially, man.
The sniper mode is near... Now, it's cool mode, but it's near impossible to get your crosshair exactly on the spot you want to.
It reminded me of playing ESPN basketball and trying to get, you know, sync the free throws.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Where it's just like... It's so frustrating that you can't line it perfectly.
A lot of times the companies don't put the production money and value into this.
Yeah.
This game has all those things. It has the great music. It has the great menu.
Well, they were going
you
after
know?
Halo. It's easy to see that they were targeting Halo. One thing that drove me nuts, there's no jump button in the game. And you'll be walking up to like curbs, and you have to find an alternate ramp to get up to like, you can't make first-person shooter games without a jump button.
Yeah, what's the problem
I'm sorry, man.
Well, why not?
But they do have the context-sensitive action button that lets you scramble over top of things every once in a while.
Right.
Just only what they want you to scramble over.
You know, problem I had was that it was actually hard a lot of the times to figure out who was on your team and who wasn't. I mean, it was hard to...
They're all this gray, blocky shapes
and they're all kind of black and dark, and I didn't know who was on I didn't know who I was supposed to be shooting and who I wasn't, you know what I mean?
I'm giving Killzone an 8.
That's exactly what I give it as well, 8.
On the positive side, the production values of Killzone are very impressive. Some good multiplayer gameplay in there. And although it's not a Halo killer, it's still one of the best first-person shooter experiences you can find for the PlayStation 2.
On the negative side, the frame rate isn't as smooth as other console games. The aiming is a little too sensitive, and it's hard to tell who your enemies are.
All right, now we've got a PlayStation 2 controller to tell you guys about. This is the Pelican Afterglow controller. We looked at the PlayStation 2 version, although they've made ones for the GameCube and the Xbox as well.
I gotta be honest with you, we're getting close for me to get the Tron controller.
Absolutely.
This glows blue.
Yes, it does.
Like
Tron
what?
blue.
That's right.
Pretty much patterned exactly after the regular DualShock analog controller that Sony's made, except they've got the R2 and L2 buttons are shifted underneath, more like the Xbox trigger kind of
right, which feels
okay.
good.
It's all right.
I mean, yeah, you're not used to it because you're so used to this on the top.
Yep.
But it actually feels good.
What I like about it is that
nice.
it differentiates the buttons quite well, so that you can memorize the exact location. Because I don't know about you, but I've pressed the R1 when I've wanted the R2.
That you're right. All the buttons are tight. The joypad is tight.
Yep.
The sticks are nice.
The little face buttons are, I think, a tad too close together, so you can hit.
See, I
two
like
buttons
that
at the
because I
same
got
time.
smaller hands, but I didn't mind that too much.
It's not that big of a difference. I mean, I played some GTA with the controller, and I thought it was pretty good. The price point's only $20.
I gotta say, for a gimmick, it's fun.
If you want something that glows in the dark, this is your controller. I'm going to recommend it.
I'm going to recommend it as well. I like this one, and it's the closest thing I have to Tron! On the positive side, this controller feels really good in your hands, even with the L2 and R2 buttons being lowered. It's only $20, but the best thing is that it glows like Tron!
On the negative side, who else is sick of hearing Tommy say Tron? Did I mention I'm sick of Tommy saying Tron? And I really hate when Tommy says Tron. Stick around. After the break, an old favorite game returns with some new enhancements.
Pong?
And we're not just talking the silicone variety, Outlaw Golf 2.
Ooh, humana, 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 humana.
B Games. We take games seriously. All right, now this game, Deus Ex Invisible War, or DX2, it was unjustly criticized for not living up to the original Deus Ex, which is one of the best games of all time. Now this one's, it's not just a shooter. There's all kinds of weapons and cool objects that you pick up, and you can blast away at bad guys, but you play an augmented anti-terrorist dude, and you can actually do all kinds of great things with all of these internal kind of augmentations that are built into yourself. One of the decisions that they made that kind of screwed things up a little bit is that they used ammunition that was useful for all the weapons in the game, which kind of sucked because you would run out of sniper bullets all of a sudden, but it kind of used up all of the ammo for all your other weapons at the same time. Incredibly detailed, intense script with some decent voiceover acting. This one is going to keep you engaged. Deus Ex 2 Invisible War, or DX2. We are back, and we are talking about the sequel to one of Tommy's favorite golf games of all time. This is Outlaw Golf 2, and we're taking a look at this one on the Xbox, although it's available for the PlayStation 2 as well. What did you think of Outlaw Golf 2?
Well, I gotta say, like, right off the bat,
Yeah.
you choose all these characters, and it's wacky. It's a wacky golf game. You gotta pick summer
Yes.
and autumn as your caddy.
Right.
I gotta say that this is the hottest
Yeah.
and most beautiful video game character. Better
Right.
than Tomb Raider, better
Yes.
than Lara Croft.
Yes.
Can we do me a favor here?
Yeah, I just want to run some of the...
Let's appreciate even the menu screen. I'm sitting on the menu screen for like 10 minutes, roll tape. I'm speechless. Go ahead, talk.
It's pretty hard,
I'm just
isn't it?
thinking about it. Don't expect Tiger Woods. Don't expect Mario Golf.
That being said, though,
this is Grand Theft Auto meets golf.
the golfing isn't that bad. You think it's going to
not
be just
that
a
bad.
little throwaway kind of golf experience, but it actually is kind of fun to play. The thing is pretty challenging. The AI is pretty solid. There's some online play, which is
Right.
impressive.
But the best thing is you can actually take the ball
Yep.
and hit it into the crowd.
Oh,
and
they're
it-
running away.
And it knocks people over, and you get points for
You
that.
get bonus points.
And when you get enough bonus points, you can take your club out of the bag and start whacking the hell out of your caddy. This is a beautiful thing.
It's impressive that they came out at $20 US for the game, and they're giving you more than twice as many courses to play on than they did in the first Outlaw Golf. You get 8 now instead of 3.
Right.
And the variety in the courses is pretty cool. You get like the Jersey one, and you get the desert one, and there's like an ice one and a haunted house.
Freeway.
I like the psychedelic mushroom one.
I bet you did.
With kind of like Mario-esque, kind of weird, you know, psychedelic
Because it
mushrooms.
reminded you of Mario Golf? Is that why?
It kind of did. It kind of has some of
and
those
especially with
looping.
those strippers in the game.
Yeah,
that kind of reminds you of Mario Golf too,
The
didn't it?
strippers and the bikers, and I like the rappers, the Ice Tray and his homeboy caddy, Fresh Fruit.
One of the biggest problems in the game I felt was that the camera angles, I would have liked to have seen a little farther back. You never really get that Tiger Woods really good sense of how you're hitting it. And then once you do hit the ball, the camera follows you like exactly behind the ball. And the problem with that is that I want to see the ball going so I can see kind of relative to where I am at the hole.
Where your next shot is going to go.
Exactly.
I found putting was quite difficult, actually. I thought that it was very tricky. I could never really get the sense of it. You can press the X button, and you get a
This is
a
revolutionary.
line for a second, but then if you move it, it disappears.
That's right. But the big thing is that they give you 3 tries. So a lot of the holes will have like a curve to it.
Yep.
And you have to figure out where this white line goes. It was difficult. It was so unique in that you could have 3 tries to line it up, and then you just had to guess after that.
Well, I guess what was tough, though, is that you play against the AI, and it's not dumb. All the computer-controlled characters are actually pretty good players, so winning the single-player tournaments takes some practice, but you do feel like you are getting better as you play the game.
Now, there's a lot of good humor in the game, and then some of it's iffy. It's about 50-50.
We're about to witness some senseless violence, my favorite kind.
The best thing that you can say about Outlaw Golf 2 is that it delivers a good golf experience.
It's funny.
And it's value-packed, and it's better than you think it's going to be.
I'm giving it a 7.
I'm going to give it a 7.5. On the positive side, the graphics in the game are really good, especially when you're looking at summer and autumn. The online play is pretty robust, and the cool mini games like beating the hell out of your caddies never get old.
On the negative side, the camera angles are a little tough to deal with, and although there's some good jokes in the game, there's some dodgy ones as well.
All right, we're going from wacky golf to Vietnam. We've got Men of Valor versus Conflict Vietnam after the break.
Hopefully Summer will be in that game as well.
I don't think so.
Damn.
Our favorite sci-fi flavored first-person shooters. Number 1 is Red Faction 2. Number 2, Unreal Tournament 2004. Number 3, Time Splitters 2. Number 4, Halo. And number 5, Doom 3.
All right, we are back in the jungles of Vietnam, and it scares me that we are, because all the Vietnam games we played have been really bad. But here we are talking about 2 new ones, Men of Valor against Conflict Vietnam.
Yes.
We looked at both of them on the Xbox. How do you think the visuals are for these 2 titles?
Well, I gotta say that Men of Valor is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, when you're in the jungle brush, it really gives you a sense of, you know, being in this in the thick of things. One thing that really bothered me about Men of Valor was the water.
Yeah.
What the heck were they thinking? It looked just like a glass. It didn't move. I'm like running.
I know.
Through it, and it just...
There's things in both games where they kind of dropped the ball. The characters moved really weird, I thought, in Conflict Vietnam. Thought they were a little bit too cumbersome, and yeah, exactly.
And you're like trying to move this way, and they walk this way.
Totally, absolutely. That drove me crazy. And also in Men of Valor, because it's from the same guys, 2015, that did the Medal of Honor Allied Assault game for the PC. It looked like that. It looked just like they took all of those models and that kind of look. But they did add some great visual effects to Men of Valor that I was very impressed by. I mean, when you see the big explosions and everything is shaking, and you know, or you take a bunch of hits.
It really puts you there.
Yeah.
I mean, it really puts you in the experience, which
really
is
nice.
Scary, awful experience, but it's real.
And I thought in Conflict Vietnam, I thought that was pretty cool as well, because
to me that played more like a video game because it was more third person.
Right. So what do you think? What are you going to say visually?
I got to give the visual nod to Men of Valor. I really do. Even though I hated the water.
Yeah.
still, they did everything else really nice.
It was the effects for me in Men of Valor that I liked the most, that really made it bring everything to life, but I didn't mind the look of Conflict Vietnam at all.
No, me either.
You know, by a hair, I'm going to give it to Men of Valor. Audio-wise, how did these two stack up?
Well, you know, it's all about using the F word.
Yeah.
I find
Lots of swearing
in these
Yeah.
Vietnam games.
Authentic dialogue.
I like the authentic languages as well in
Right.
Men of Valor. Were incredible. I mean, you heard the Vietnamese
Definitely Conflict
shouting at
Vietnam
you
is a
and
little cleaner than Men of Valor. It's not as
Gritty.
and edgy as it is.
Now, for the music, both games used some licensed music and some original music as
Yeah.
well. But the interactive score was recorded with a live orchestra by Enon Zur.
Awesome.
Isn't that a fun name to
I
say?
love that guy.
Say that name.
Awesome. Enon Zur.
Isn't
Wasn't
that
he a
great?
character in Robotron?
No.
He was one of the dudes, wasn't he? No? Men of Valor wins the audio award there. Now talk about gameplay. How do you think these two stood up against each other?
I gotta say, I loved Men of Valor.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like I was in that war. Like, you know,
They've
we're-
added a
like,
lot of the scripted
I'm
kind
like-
of stuff that we're seeing in Call of Duty and Medal of Honor. These guys know
But
that
like,
kind
if
of
I'm in
world.
a field or in the brush,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden one of my guys will just boom get cut down.
Both
and they're
games
starting to
presented that.
screaming and
But
stuff.
I agree with you. Men of Valor did a very good job at doing that stuff. Conflict Vietnam gave me some of that same rush as well.
See, the problem with that though is that the controls
It's very
were so
cumbersome.
lame.
They're very cumbersome.
I mean, I couldn't even figure out the map screen. It was so screwed up. Like
Yeah.
they have this map screen, but you never really know where you're pointing. So every 3 seconds I had to pause it and go in this direction. And am I going the right way? No.
Yeah.
It was very confusing.
There's just too much action going on. It's a very easy game to play, but you have to take control of all four characters
Right.
when you're playing by yourself, and it's just too much going on. It is a split screen up to 4-player game as well, and you can play through the game together, everybody taking on different roles. People can be medics and sort of support you in these battles, and all that stuff kind of adds some real fun to the game. But what Men of Valor counters with is they actually have online support. So even in the multiplayer arena, I think Men of Valor wins that one too.
I agree. Out of all the console games out there, I gotta say Men of Valor is the best one this year for Vietnam. I'm giving it a 9.
I'm giving Men of Valor an 8. And what are you going to give Conflict Vietnam?
I'm giving that a 6. The controls really blew it for me.
I didn't mind it that much. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. So there you have it. The Vietnam games are getting better. If you're looking for the best one to get right now, pick up Men of Valor.
Today on the show, we took a look at Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. This is the best Grand Theft Auto game so far with the most things to do, but the edgy content is definitely not for kids. Killzone. Great production values in this first-person shooter, but there's some lame frame rate problems that bog things down. Outlaw Golf 2. It's always great to see summer and autumn, and the online play is pretty good in this one, but there's some dodgy jokes in here as well. In Versus, we took a look at Conflict Vietnam, which allows you to play as 4 characters at once in some pretty chaotic gameplay, against Men of Valor, which delivers solid first-person shooter action not too dissimilar from Call of Duty or Medal of Honor. The Battle of the Vietnam games this week was won by Men of Valor. You can play single-player bot matches as well, so you can kind of get prepared for
Butt
going
matches.
Bot matches.
Oh,
Bot matches.
that would be pretty funny. Look, it's a butt match.
Yeah,
it's
easy.
a butt match.